Hey guys. Oh wow. This is quite a challenge. Hi guys. So before I get into today's video, I want to leave a quick disclaimer. Most of you know that I am motivated about making more content. However, I do not keep to it. I'm not consistent. But I've made up my mind to try to do something every now and then. Of course, I'm not going to give you a timeline yet because I want to be sure that I can be very diligent when I propose what my timelines of postings will be. However, a quick one, let me let you know that one of the reasons why I've started doing this more often is because I am trying to improve on that one fundamental skill that is necessary for you to thrive in any space, which is communication skills. I want to be very eloquent, I want to be succinct, and I want to be effective. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about 3 things that is premised around this pandemic. Since we are all in a state of lockdown, I feel like this is something that most students around the world can relate to, and even adults as a whole. Of course, my story is quite different because I'm talking from the experience of a student. However, I still feel like some working adults can relate with it. I think I said that already. All right, let's jump straight into it. As a student right now, I am not going to school, but I am taking classes online. It has its perks and it has its disadvantages. So some of the things that I want to let you know about would be something like having more time to, practice the material, having more time dedicated to your own self for self-care, and of course I have more access to food, which is a plus because I love food. I'm always hungry, especially if it's something that has to do with my brain functioning. Okay, you just heard that. That's because there was someone else in the house. Not gonna tell you who the person is, but try to get your mind off that. That is the advantage. But the disadvantage is I have too much time on my hand and lethargy creeps in. Procrastination, it becomes a thing of every experience, and sometimes the thing is I have access to resources that I need for self-care, self-maintenance, but I do not have access to those academic resources as you would if you were constantly exposed to them on campus, because you have the opportunity to walk into a lecturer's office to talk to them. I say lecturer, yeah, we call them professors. You can just walk in there and talk to them about what your dilemma is or whatever it is that worries you at the moment. That said, let's shift to the next thing. The next thing is the state of my work. As a student, I used to be very pressed for time, which means I am always running from school and then I'm running straight back home or straight back to work, depending on which day it falls on. If it's on a Tuesday or a Thursday, I most times have a leeway I can jump. Well, of course, only Tuesdays. A Tuesday I have a leeway I can just dictate my own times, why I decide to spend my time, whether I want to be at a coffee shop or I want to be at home or I want to volunteer, do anything, and get back to work without being stressed or worried that I might be late. Whereas every other day I have to work because I'm far away and it takes me little over 30 minutes by driving. Of course, I don't have a car, so that is quite impossible. So I spend a lot of money trying to get myself to work, and that's also cost me time. Whereas by other means of transportation, it takes me an hour plus. So that's, well, of course, I don't have to go through that anymore, but even though that seems like it's a serious advantage, I still go to work in these dangerous times, so I am constantly exposed. And the reason why I'm mostly exposed is because I am a caregiver. I'm not a CNA, not licensed. I just provide care to those who are in need of it. Say, for example, the elderly or those with severe debilitations. I provide care to such kind of people. I love my job. I love what I do, but of course, just because I'm young doesn't mean that I need to be exposed to something as dangerous as this virus, and I can avoid it, but it's what it is. There's no getting around it. Anyway, to keep this a little more interesting for you, there is one point that I almost have forgotten, so I need to look in my book, and if I'm not looking in my book, just give me a second to think about it. So I spoke about this, spoke about that. What else? What else? You know what? I'm just gonna trail off and tell you that one of the things that I miss about having a lot of people around me, even though I am an INFJ personality type and I'm easily drained by people talking too much. I talk a lot, I play a lot, but I get drained easily. It's like it takes me a lot to recharge after spending time with people. I still miss the experience of hanging out with people, just being around people and hearing what it is they have to say. That rocks my world. That makes me feel like I'm human and I'm alive. But these days, it's not the same. I think I'm sweating and I don't even know how bad it is because I don't want to distract myself. It hasn't been the same. It hasn't. So let me check in my notes right now to see if I'm not missing anything because I know it's just 3 points I listed and just to be on top of it. Oh, yeah. I missed the most important one, and the most important thing is my creativity. Of course, during the entire length of this semester, I had not been the most creative person as I basically just stopped creating. But the thing is, I still get to play around with my camera, or at least play around with ideas that I have, work with it in my mind, because I'm constantly on the move, so I can think through the process, get exposed to new things more often. And that would have been my creative process, just building on my ability to make new things, new content. However, being at home, though it's an advantage because I get to learn directly from the resources that have more, how do I put this in order to not sound lame? It has more material, should I say? More professional materials to help develop me as a creator. There isn't really room for practice, or that's what I think, because I'm already susceptible to procrastinate because I don't have any. Well, I can't create new space for me to go out, or I can't really create time, or I think I have to stop recording. Thinking about my. Oh my god. Stop. Alright. Presently, no one is dying, but I'm sure it's still a state of emergency. So I wish whoever it is they are trying to care for, save right now, speedy recovery. Yeah, these days, heavy alarm means something. I mean, every siren means an alarm. Not every alarm means something. All right, before I lose track of what it is I'm talking about, with creativity, I'm at home, I could learn more from these professionals, but though I'm learning, I procrastinate in the entire process of practicing. So it's not like I'm actively learning anymore. It's more of like a passive learning process, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I am improving on my skills or I'm learning something new. It's just I'm getting more exposed to these things. So I don't know how to separate the advantages from the disadvantages, but I do know one thing. I'm not particularly enjoying this process. I still prefer a state of not being able to learn anything new and just build on skills that I have by going out, imagining things, or using my gadgets every once in a while to create something, though I don't post. But that's it. Let's keep this light and fresh. I want to close on a note by saying, hey, look, it's gonna pass away. It's gonna be okay. Things are happening around the world that would shock most of you, especially if you're young and you don't understand the nature of this virus. You don't understand the way things operate. You might be severely worried, and if you're someone whose education doesn't allow you to understand how this virus itself works, it's okay. You don't need that understanding right now. All you need to do is be as careful as possible. Make sure that you are compliant with all of these recommendations that have been posted all over the world, especially on CDC, the website that is accessible to a lot of us that have internet at home. Just do everything you can to keep yourself safe and keep your neighbors safe so we can get through this phase in time. That said, I am happy that I'm able to get through this recording. Wow, I actually did this and I feel great about it. Yeah, that smile. All right, let me cut this out. See, I just admire how mirrors work. A distorted mirror would only show you a distorted image of the world. A dirty mirror would show you just a few things clearly, or just enough that you can at least make out the image. I tend to draw a correlation between the way the mirror functions and just what our mind is truly capable of. And we've got to polish our minds, just like we take care of a decent mirror in order for us to see ourselves in our fullest glory.